Southwest Florida is no stranger to nature's wrath.
Ian,
Helene.
Milton.
Everything here was covered with sand about this deep.
And now, hurricane season 2025 brings with it a familiar unease.
What do I do? Do I stay or do I run?
You sort of forget that you're sitting right there on the ocean and it can be gone at any point in time.
We're hoping we don't get flooded this year.
Warm waters and early forecasts point to an active season ahead.
The Gulf of America is a breeding ground for tropical storms and hurricanes.
But no two seasons are ever the same.
It's like somebody died. My favorite place in the world is now gone.
From keeping the lights on
To creating the ultimate storm kit,
and putting eyes in the sky to track every system.
riding out hurricane season 2025.
Get storm ready with the Weather Authority.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm the Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist Matt Devitt.
I'm Chris Safadi.
And I'm Lois Tomey. We are coming to you from the Punta Gorda waterfront, Lashley Crab House along the Peace River.
We also have a team of reporters and meteorologists spread out across our area because over the last 3 years, there's not a corner of Southwest Florida that's been left untouched by tropical activity.
To keep you and your family safe, we'll start with what's new this hurricane season. The National Hurricane Center continues to refine its cone graphic. It will shrink again, this time by 3 to 6%. The director also tells me they'll once again create an experimental combination graphic that incorporates the cone, watches, and warnings all in one.
This year, this is an example of Hurricane Helene. And in this case, you can see almost the entire state of Florida was under either a tropical storm or hurricane watch or warning, along with much of Georgia, parts of South Carolina and North Carolina.
The agency will also provide rip current risk information and issue alerts for potential tropical systems, ones that have not formed yet but pose a threat up to 72 hours before the anticipated arrival. And this new technology will give us a better, more accurate picture of what's happening in the Gulf waters, if or when a storm approaches. The Southwest Florida coastline, white sandy beaches, crisp, clear water, but that very water we enjoy can also become hazardous as a tropical system approaches. That's why Charlotte County is putting in 5 continuous water level stations. Think of them as eyes 24/7 on the water. Brandon Moody, water quality manager for the county, explains the benefit when it comes to emergency operations.
To have this data allows them to see where things are progressing in terms of the storm event, where they might need to focus on in search and rescue efforts, depending on where the surges were highest, and also get better organized for response activities after the event.
Before now, we had just one tide sensor from NOAA to look at across Lee and Charlotte counties to see surge and water levels in real time. There's also one in Collier County. Jamie Rome, Deputy Director of the National Hurricane Center, adds that they have the ability to supplement resources in the event of a hurricane to keep communities safe.
Once we know a hurricane has formed and where it's going to go, you can sort of put sensors in place to fill those gaps and holes.
We also have an incredible resource with our WeatherStem stations. They can withstand the power of a Category 5 hurricane to record accurate weather observations.
So how will this season shape up? Colorado State released its forecast for the 2025 season. It predicts 17 named storms, with 9 of those becoming hurricanes with winds of 74 miles per hour or greater. 4 are expected to intensify to major hurricanes, with winds of 111 miles per hour or greater.
In its initial forecast for the 2024 season, CSU called for 23 named storms. We saw 18, but the forecast was spot on for hurricanes and major hurricanes.
Here at Lashley Park Marina, they felt the effects of major Hurricane Milton.
Take a look at the marina. Several derelict boats, shallow waters from all the sand that washed up, and damaged docks. We spoke with Dockmaster Gary Pishka.
The difference between Ian and Helene and Milton was the storm surge. It really got us. The direction of the wind raised these docks almost up over the pilings. It just tore all the finger docks up, and a lot of the infrastructure.
Pishka looks forward to the day that everything is back up and running here. He considers the marina a focal point in the community because of this restaurant, the Lashley Crab House, and the proximity to many other bars, restaurants, and parks.
Along the coast, progress is equally slow in Manasota Key. The quaint community of fewer than a couple thousand people, once filled with bungalows and cottages, is now one of renovations, rebuilds, and changes. Wink News reporter Maddie Herron shares the story of paradise shattered, but also resilience.
Reflecting on the past while looking toward the future.
Makes me emotional still.
Andy Hanks lives on Manasota Key. He is one of thousands in Charlotte County who were beaten down by Hurricanes Helene and Milton, left to pick up the pieces of not only their homes, but themselves.
I'm sitting on the beach, having a beer, smoking a cigar, crying.
What our residents, experienced was devastating. I'm sure in some cases, questioning whether they should be living in Southwest Florida or Florida in itself.
8 months after catastrophe, a drive onto Manasota Key looks much different, some parts unrecognizable.
It's like somebody died. I mean, my favorite place in the world is now gone.
Over on the south side of the island, 4 sale signs line the roads where debris once littered, but not in front of Hanks's home.
It was a full-time job for me for 114 days. Every day. I was here no later than 8 o'clock, and I was here till dark mostly.
Relentless effort to rebuild the one-story rental home he treasures buried in the storm.
Everything here was covered with sand about this deep. Even with that, everything went missing. Everything in the house, out of the house. It's a show.
Looking at it now, Hanks's paradise is inching closer to picture perfect, painted sunrise orange for the dawn of a new beginning.
Are there any lessons that you feel like you're bringing into this next chapter?
I don't know. I honestly, that's a very hard question because you can't stop it. It's probably going to take a couple of years to grow back. And let's pray to God we don't have 2 more hurricanes this September and October.
We agree, Andy.
Absolutely. Looking back to the 2024 season, it was one of the costliest on record. With around $132 billion in losses, we saw 2 Category 5 hurricanes, Beryl and Milton, for the first time since 2019. Beryl was the earliest Category 5 Atlantic hurricane on record and only the second recorded in July.
Helene was the deadliest. It killed more than 200 people across 4 states. Milton was the strongest.
Milton's 180 miles per hour winds also reignited the debate over whether we need to add a Category 6 for hurricanes. If so, much of the research proposes the designation for storms with winds greater than 192 miles per hour. Here's a look at the current Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale, recognizing a Category 5 storm as the highest, anything with winds of 157 miles per hour or greater.
Water temperatures also play a big role in how much and how quickly a storm strengthens.
The Weather Authority meteorologist Nikki Sheeks joins us from the Naples Pier.
Hurricanes are steam engines, and steam engines need warm waters of at least 80 degrees to develop. I'm here at the Naples Pier, where we've already reached that threshold here in the Gulf. Overall, sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic in the month of May were 2 degrees cooler than last year. That may not sound like much, but that's significant when it comes to tropical development and tropical activity. While that is good news, in the Caribbean Sea, as well as through the majority of the Atlantic, temperatures are still sitting above normal. And you could see that here on this colorful heat map that depicts water temperatures. And this could paint a picture for the 2025 season. Hurricanes in the Atlantic often develop as thunderstorm complexes that move off the coast of Africa, and when they encounter favorable conditions, one of those being warm waters, they could develop into a tropical storm or hurricane. Rest assured, whatever heads our way, the Wink Weather Authority has you covered. I'm the Wink Weather Authority meteorologist, Nikki Sheeks.
Record high water temperatures last year fueled Category 4 Hurricane Helene and Category 5 Hurricane Milton.
A new survey by Florida Atlantic University looking at this year's hurricane season found that 38% of Floridians are extremely concerned about hurricanes becoming stronger and or more frequent. 29% were moderately concerned and 23% were slightly concerned. The other big concern, homeowners insurance. What you need to know about your policy before, during, and after a storm, and the Weather Authority checklist you want to have handy next.
Plus, the Weather Authority meteorologist Zach Malak shows off the latest technology used by the hurricane hunters and explains how it will keep you safe this storm season.
And the new ways power companies are working to keep your air conditioning on and prevent power outages.
But first, here's a look at this year's storm names.
Where we are right now, Lashley Crab House along the Peace River with the Baron Collier Bridge behind us, is Evacuation Zone A.
That makes it the most vulnerable to storm surge. The zones range from A to E, noted by color. If you don't know what zone you live in, check now. We have a map in the Wink Hurricane Guide, or you can go to winknews.com and we'll post a link where you can enter your own address.
Homeowners insurance is designed to protect your home.
But the average premiums here in Florida rose nearly 60% between 2015 and 2023, the largest increase in any state, according to LexisNexis Risk Solutions. It's vitally important that you understand what is and isn't included in your coverage.
We have several checklists for you on winknews.com, but here are some of the most important items before, during, and after a storm.
Before, review your policy, know your coverage and deductible. Will your insurer replace items or only pay out the cash value? Homeowners insurance typically covers damage from strong winds, including hurricanes, with a separate hurricane deductible. Standard policies don't cover flood damage. You need separate coverage to protect your home against rising water from the outside. You can make changes to your existing policy until the National Hurricane Center issues storm watches or warnings. Flood policies take about 30 days to take effect, though, so you need to plan ahead and take an inventory and photo of the items in your home.
As a storm approaches, if you are near the water, weigh down furniture that can float away and lift anything you can off the floor. Put important documents in waterproof containers and take them with you. In Ian, we saw many items, including appliances, float away.
After a storm, take pictures of damage, secure your home and property to prevent additional damage, and protect your possessions from theft. Keep receipts, all of them, for emergency repairs. Contact your insurance company or agent about making a claim.
And the biggest takeaway here is prepare in advance. So if or when another storm hits, you will be ready and not get lost in the emotion of the situation.
We can gather plenty of insights about hurricane season from the weather patterns, El Nino and La Nina. The Weather Authority meteorologist Greg Rule dives into exactly where we are now and what it could mean for our hurricane season.
I'm coming to you from Fort Myers Beach, ground zero of sorts from Hurricane Ian back in 2022. The storm surge brought upwards of 15 feet of water onshore, destroying homes, businesses, even the pier, and ultimately changing people's lives forever. Now, at the time, we were in a weak to moderate La Nina. La Nina is marked by cooler than average sea surface temperatures in the eastern Pacific. Now, for the Atlantic, that means lowered wind shear, making it easier for tropical systems to form and strengthen. In El Nino years, warmer Pacific waters shift the jet stream to the south of its usual position. Now, that shift often brings wetter than average conditions along the Gulf Coast and a higher risk of flooding. Right now, we're currently in a neutral phase of ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Michael Brennan, the director of the National Hurricane Center, explains.
We probably won't have either the very typically unfavorable conditions that come from El Nino or the more favorable conditions that come from La Nina, but we can have very busy seasons in this so-called neutral phase.
So stay alert. The Wink weather team expects a slightly above average Atlantic hurricane season, and the reasons why, the warm waters and the current phase of ENSO that we're under. Coming to you from Fort Myers Beach, I'm the Weather Authority meteorologist, Greg Rule.
Part of getting ready for the slightly above average season involves knowing when to leave and where to evacuate, prepping your pets and your boats, and making sure your storm kit's stocked. I'm the Weather Authority meteorologist Lauren Kreidler. Where to go? Inland, or if you have to, go to a shelter. Find out which one's closest to you. Bring personal supplies like medications, sleeping bags, pillows, snacks, hygiene products, and chargers. Anyone requiring a special needs shelter must register in advance. In Lee and Charlotte counties, all shelters are pet friendly. In Collier, the special needs shelter and the middle schools are. Considering having 2 different kits when it comes to pets. In one, put everything to stay where you are. The other should be a portable version in case you have to evacuate. That includes shot records, a crate, any medications, food, and water. If you do ride out a storm, make sure your storm kit is ready. At a minimum, have 1 gallon of water per person per day. Non-perishable food like bread, crackers, peanut butter, flashlights, batteries, and a weather radio. A 2-week supply of prescriptions, and be sure to keep your car gassed up. If you own a boat, consider moving it out of the storm's path. That could mean putting it on a trailer, driving it away, or seeking safe harbor. Also, be sure to check your insurance policy. It may have specific rules you are supposed to follow in the event of a storm. Back to you.
One storm can knock out power for days or even weeks, as Southwest Florida knows all too well.
Wink News anchor Corey Lazar checked in with FPL and LCEC to see what's new and how they plan to restore power faster.
We're very focused in Southwest Florida in particular.
I exclusively spoke to FPL about this hurricane season and their initiative to move power lines underground. Troy Todd showed me how these underground power lines are housed in thick conduit with other connectors that are water resistant for some time, even salt water.
So someplace like Fort Myers Beach, which does flood quite often, can somewhere like that handle underground power lines?
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. So it can. So we do take that engineering study, and then we have the ability to put our equipment on higher pads.
Equipment like these green transformer boxes that power the underground lines. The Midway area in Port Charlotte, Golden Gate Estates, and Naples Park in Collier County are the next underground projects.
We used to do what's called strip and go. We'd take everything off and we'd go down and just try to get the main feeder on.
Rusty Snyder with LCEC tells me they have a new method for restoration as well.
If it's up, it looks good, and we've ran it out and everything's good. We're not taking those lines off, so we don't have to go back and restore later.
Restoring power faster and keeping the lights on. Corey Lazar, Wink News.
If a storm's on track to impact Southwest Florida, tune in to 96.9 Wink FM and 97.7 Latino for a simulcast of our coverage.
Imagine if your job took you right into the eye of a storm.
Straight ahead, new tech and flying high with the hurricane hunters.
Check out this incredible sight. This is the inside wall of Hurricane Milton, taken by a crew member from inside one of the Hurricane Hunter planes. Those planes are based out of Lakeland in Polk County.
The Weather Authority meteorologist Zach Malak takes you on board for a look at the technology that keeps us safe.
Slicing through the eye wall of a hurricane before entering the relative calm of the storm's eye. That's NOAA's aircraft, the WP-3D Orion, affectionately named Kermit, probing every wind speed and pressure change within a hurricane.
It's a really, really tough aircraft. 4 Rolls-Royce engines, 4,600 horsepower apiece. It's a lot of power going through.
This aircraft is really effective at measuring the storm size itself, and that's why we start about 100, 110 miles away from the storm, or work our way into the other side.
Data collected right here from this aircraft and from unmanned aircraft systems is data that we use at the Weather Authority for accurate and precise hurricane forecasts each and every season. But first, the data has to come into these computers before it comes to us.
All of that data, all that recon data goes to the forecast models. The models have learned how to take this data and to absorb it, and we've seen forecast improvement in the models simply by getting the recon observations as well.
That data not only helps models better determine a hurricane's track and strength, but Flight Director John Zwizak tells me storm surge forecasts also benefit from the addition of NOAA-developed sensors.
We have a remote sensor that passively looks at radiative emission from sea foam coming off the ocean surface. So all that winds generate sea foam, sea spray, it emits radiation. We actually measure that and infer wind speed.
That data helps us forecast where exactly the storm will track, how strong it will get, and how high the surge will be. It's data the hurricane hunters work hard to get each and every storm. With the Hurricane Hunters, I'm Weather Authority meteorologist Zach Malak.
Thank you for joining us from the Lashley Crab House in Punta Gorda for this special presentation of Hurricane Season 2025, Getting Ready with the Weather Authority.
If you haven't picked up your copy of our Hurricane Guide, you can find the closest location to you by clicking the Hurricane Guide Locations button on winknews.com. And you can also download a copy from there. TV, online, on your smartphone,
or on the radio.
We've got you covered.
When severe weather strikes, we will keep you informed with the latest, most accurate information available anywhere, anytime, any place.
Stay safe, Southwest Florida.